Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we are back with a Corki supplementary guide, and today we're going to be covering basically crit Corki. Now obviously I don't think this is the best build for Corki. I think this is the best build for Corki, which I of course covered in his updated complete guide. If you guys want to, you can check that out. But this one's going for like a full crit burst version of Corki. So we're first going to start off with a Mana Mune. Now you can of course just go straight into crit. You can start off with Essence Reaver into Charge Blade and IE afterwards. You could go for that, but I do think starting with a Mana Mune is going to be better. Simply because Mana Mune is just a great item for Corki. It gives you a lot of mana, which is something Corki really needs because he runs out of mana really easily. You get ability haste, attack damage, and of course on your attacks and abilities it will deal extra damage when it evolves into your mana. Then we go for the Gluttonous Greaves for the Omnivamp as well as the AD. We start off with our first crit item, the Essence Reaver. Now of course Essence Reaver gives you AD, ability haste, and the passive, which allows your abilities to do extra damage. And of course with Corki you do a lot of ability damage with your ult as well as your Q, so you do want to get this one. Then you go for Charge Blade. Now Charge Blade basically gives you a stack whenever you use an ability, and basically when you auto attack this is going to proc and of course deal extra damage. So this works really well because Corki has a lot of ult charges and you can get stacks really easily and basically just keep on proccing it. It also gives you of course more ability haste to spam your abilities even more, and a little bit of attack speed as well, which is always going to be helpful to get out those auto attacks to proc your Charge Blade in between casting your abilities. So next up we of course we do have the IE. IE of course boosts our crit damage as well as giving us a lot of AD. And for the last crit item is really flexible. You can of course go for Shield Bow, which of course gives you the extra level of safety. You could also go for a full-on defensive item instead of going for 100% crit. So you could go for something like Maw. You could go for anti-heal with the Kempang Chainsword, or safety with like Crown or GA. Now just something to note here is you don't want to go for Bloodthirster because Bloodthirster gives you physical vamp and you deal 80% magic damage, so you don't really benefit from the physical vamp. Now if you want Bloodthirster just for the stats, like for the AD and for the additional like AD and attack speed when you're high on health, you could go for that, but I think that's a little bit of a waste of money. Now also you don't want to go for Maul Reminder. Once again, this is because you deal 80% AP damage, so you don't really benefit from armor penetration. So again, it's a waste of money. You don't want to go for that. So for the runes, I actually went for Conqueror in the gameplay, but from the gameplay itself, I actually realized that First Strike is actually going to be better for this build because you do a lot more burst damage than actual DPS over time. So I think First Strike is going to be better with this build. And then of course we go for Brutal, because we auto attack, here and there in between. Giant Slayer because is the rune that does the most damage with how much bonus health there is in the game. We go for Bloodline here for more Omnivamp. You could also go for Alacrity if you prefer, and Bone Plating for the defensive stats in lane and in the later stages of the game. Finally, we go for Flash as well as Exhaust. Now, Exhaust pretty good for Corki because he jumps in with the package. Exhaust can really help you out with that and to stay alive when you jump in. But with all that said, let's quickly jump into the gameplay. Alright, so now we're moving on to the gameplay. Honestly, of course, Corki, I don't think I really need to explain this, but you normally want to play Corki when your team is lacking AP. So in this match, we do have some AP, we do have Twisted Fate for the AP damage, but personally I think Twisted Fate doesn't do a lot of damage unless you get incredibly fed. And on the AD front, we already have Zed and Darius, so I'm like, alright, let me go for a little bit of Corki here. We can supplement our team's AP damage a little bit. So we are going for that Corki. Now we're against MF and Senna. This isn't a very easy lane because of course Senna has incredibly long range and MF has that bounce that you really gotta look out for. And Corki generally can be a lane bully against lanes that don't have too much range, but in this particular case, unfortunately they do have a lot of range. So really not the easiest lane to play. So basically what we're trying to do here is we're just trying to not get bullied ourselves. So we're just trying to not do anything too aggressive. We're trying to not get hit by the first strike on the MF, that's for sure, and we so far have been pretty successful with that. Now if she procs it on her E, sure, no problem, we don't mind that. And we're actually winning the trade against the MF. We actually do manage to chunk her to like half health. As I say that, we get hit by a double up and we don't really win the trade anymore. We're gonna have to pop some fruit here to get our health back up. And of course we do have sustain with the Nami as well, but on the other side, Senna gives a decent amount of sustain as well. Here MF gets caught. Unfortunately, as I'm trying to follow up, I run into the Senna W. Nabi decides to just run it down and gives a kill over to MF. Not quite sure what happened there, but Nami just runs it down, and unfortunately we do, obviously now we're in a poor position, we don't have our support. We're stuck under tower at like 1/4 HP, and we're really vulnerable, just trying to hang on here. If Master Yi comes and dives us, we're just completely dead here, so hopefully he doesn't just show up. MF is trying to back here. I'm just trying to get the CS. Of course, I'm going to have to attempt to stop her back, but unfortunately I waited just a second too long, and she is able to complete her back. So here, Senna is backing off. Nami is back from her death, and now we are going to go back to base, of course restore our health, but get our tier and start stacking it. You can actually see the tier stacks in the replay tool now, which is something I didn't really notice, but yeah, you can see we are at 7 stacks of tier, obviously from just launching that Q in lane. And MF looks like she is in trouble, getting ganked by our Z jungle, and she does end up going down. So, you know, nice move by the Z. Unfortunately, we don't get any like assist or anything like that, but having the enemy ADC dead is always a good thing that we're not going to complain about. We can push the wave in, we can maybe get some damage onto the tower, maybe even get a plate. Looks like we can probably get a plate. There we go, 1 plate down for us. Of course, we are taking a little bit of damage from Senna and giving her some grass procs, but you know, it's kind of hard to avoid. Now MF here again uses her E to proc her first strike, which is horrible because her E doesn't really do very much damage. So a top tip for you guys is if you're against a champion that plays first strike and they have an ability that doesn't do a lot of damage, like in this case it's MF's E, you actually want to get hit by it so that they quote-unquote waste their first strike, because they're barely going to get any extra damage and barely going to get any gold from that ability anyway, so you might as well just let them hit you so that they can put their first strike on cooldown and they won't get to use it on the important ability. In this case, it's MF's Q. So here Zed comes in for the gank again. This time, we are able to get the assist. Of course, Master Yi comes in for the counter gank and does end up taking out the Zed. However, I do pop the exhaust on him. He's under tower. And I'm going to do one last auto to finish him off. Senna now on the run. Twisted Fate comes in with the stun card on the minion. Senna is getting away. But honestly, even if he didn't stun card the minion, he couldn't have hit Senna anyway, because Senna was, of course, in the shroud, so he wouldn't have been able to hit her anyway. But just pretty comical. Just runs in, ults in, you know, just to stun, not even ults in, just runs in just to stun the minion. So here we have the package up and available, but we don't have any objective spawning, so we don't really need the package at the moment. So we want to kind of wait until the package is needed, which is actually going to be pretty soon because the objectives are spawning in a little bit. But, you know, we couldn't pick it up too early because ever since they nerfed the package, like, honestly, a couple of months ago at this point in time, you can only hold it for like 30 seconds. So you don't want to pick it up too early. The ideal time to pick it up is about 20 seconds before objective spawns. Sometimes even 10 seconds before objective spawns is probably the most ideal because it gives you, like, you know, time to walk there. MF here, I'm not really sure what she's doing. You know, she ends up just dying 1v2 because she decided not to back off, didn't really respect the damage from me and Nami, so we get a quick kill onto the MF, and here you can see 5 seconds left until objective spawn, so we're a little bit late, but we are able to get back and get the package, and we're gonna run straight over. Looks like it's gonna be a trade. Master Yi is on the Herald, as we can see from the map, whereas Zed is on the Dragon, so it looks like we're gonna get a relatively free Dragon, whereas they're gonna get a relatively free Herald. Now, I say that, but my team ends up contesting Herald and they end up contesting Dragon, so neither one is really that free. So they do end up getting the Herald. We're going to come back over to start contesting the Dragon. Nami hits a bubble on Aurelion, so I'm going to cut off his escape with the package, so he has to run the long way. Unfortunately, Aurelion Soul can fly over walls now, so or not now, but he can always fly over walls. So he just flew over the wall there, and we don't quite get the kill on him. Because he can just go over the wall just like that. So a little bit unlucky, a little bit unfortunate here. However, in the meantime, a play is being made in mid by basically 4 members of the enemy team. So now I'm in bot and I'm pushing as fast as I can. I'm trying to get, you know, a plate or maybe even 2. So here I actually get a plate. MF actually pops the Herald down on our lane. and we're gonna have to come over to clear that Herald. It's gonna charge no matter what, but we don't want her to get the tower from it, so we're gonna get rid of the Herald here. Twisted Fate ult actually reveals the enemy team, so we know that there's 2 people somewhat near us, and the rest of the team is coming out of the base. So we're kind of relatively safe. We're gonna go on the MF again, who again does not respect the fact that me and Nami can do a lot of damage. I really don't know why she just decided to run in just like that. But yeah, she does die again. She probably had a false sense of security near her tower, but honestly, we can kill her really, really quickly. So definitely a mistake to underestimate our damage. Second time, in a row, she has done that, and she has paid for it with her life. Despite that, she still has really good gold because of the Herald. She actually got like, I think 4 to 5 plates off of the Herald, and we still have like 500 more gold than her, which really kind of just shows how ahead we as Corki are. Our team's honestly doing pretty alright. Darius is really, really fed. He's got a lot of plates himself. Twisted Fate's not doing too hot, but honestly that's not too important because, again, Twisted Fate is a lot more utility and CC than really damage, which is again why I went for Corki. Like, especially if the Twisted Fate is feeding, he's not gonna really do any damage, so we have the Corki for that. So here I'm just poking MF with my rockets, and we're landing really good poke on her. She's getting, pretty low, honestly. She gets the fruit, which obviously helps her situation. But yeah, so here again, we're going to easily get a kill on MF the moment she oversteps. So she really can't overstep here. She does so, and ends up dying once again. So really, she just never learns. So we do take her down. Our team gets the first tower, and we get the second one shortly thereafter. And we are, getting to be pretty fed. So here again, we've completed our mana. I mean, we don't quite have our Essence Reaver yet, so we are really fed, but we haven't really hit a power spike because obviously with the Mana Mune, you have to kind of stack it up for it to really be an item. So for now, we kind of like at half an item with the Mana Mune, so not quite there yet. With our team making a play in the top lane, we're just gonna push in the mid lane. Lots of free farm here in terms of waves. Waves really important, really underestimated. Like, a whole wave is almost worth a kill, and like 1.5 waves is basically worth a kill already. So we just got a kill's worth of gold there, and with no one really here to respond, it's a free mid lane tower for us. MF does come eventually. Again, procs the first strike using the E, so kind of, a win-win situation for me. We get the tower, we get enough gold to get the Essence Reaver, and we are able to back and get the Essence Reaver. So at this point, the enemy team is pretty doomed. No one on their team is doing particularly well. Of course, the plus side of their team is that Master Yi and Aurelion Sol both scale really well. So there is still a chance for them to get back in the game. Our team scales a little bit worse than their team. We don't scale as well, so it's not really over for them yet. But as of now, it's kind of just a competition between me and Darius as to who can carry harder. And you can see that I'm taking all the jungle farm, while I have some free time, because I'm just coming from mid lane on the way to bot lane, pick up the mid lane wave, pick up the jungle farm on the way, pick up the bot lane wave. We want to maximize the amount of gold that we get. So here we have our Mirror Mana, of course evolved from our Mana Mune with the Essence Reaver. Now honestly, like one huge rocket, like one one Essence Reaver enhanced rocket is going to do a ton of damage at this point. And that's kind of why I think First Strike is actually a little bit better in this build. You can see we have Conqueror, but we're killing people so fast that our Conqueror isn't really stacking. Like, there's 3 times that we basically one-shot MF. We never really needed our Conqueror, so I think First Strike definitely would have been better in this case. But if we get into long team fights, Conqueror is definitely going to give us more value overall, unless the whole enemy team stacks up for me to proc First Strike on them. So here a fight breaks out in the middle lane, and we do have our package ready and available. We're kind of trying to see if we can package in. We do go in with the package onto the Aurelion, so we didn't actually need the package. We just went in there for the kill. Yeah, we don't really have any good package opportunities anyway. We don't want to waste it, so it's better to just use it, suboptimally than just not use it at all. Also, another thing about the package is you don't want to greed over using it. Sometimes your package is a huge part of your kit, and you just want to use it even though there isn't a good opportunity. And I've done this so many times where I fly into the enemy team like an idiot and just die and give over a shutdown despite the fact that I know I shouldn't be using the package. So Master Yi here tries to come in on us, we exhaust him, and we're blasting him down. Nami with the beautiful bubble onto the Master Yi as he comes out of the Alpha Strike and does take him down. So definitely don't want to greed into using your package. You want to, if it's really going to run out and there's no good opportunity to use it, just let it run out. I've learned that lesson way too many times. And yeah, you just want to let it run out. Of course, ideally you want to find any kind of opportunity to use it, like what I did just now. That was kind of a suboptimal package, but at the same time, it's better than not using it at all, because the whole enemy team was already on the retreat. So here we get the red buff share from our Zed. Honestly, with Corki, blue buff is actually more important than red buff. The mana and ability haste on blue is a lot more important for Corki, because again, he has a lot of mana issues, and he is really cooldown reliant. He's sort of a pseudo mage. Here, Nami gets engaged on by Pantheon. Pantheon does get the kill on her. Unfortunately, we don't have exhaust up to actually help her, and we even have to flash to get the kill on him. So now, MF for some reason is stepping up now. I'm just walking up here, I'm eating her fruit, and I'm kind of daring her to come up to me. She's 3 and 6, remember, and I'm 7 and 0. If she walks up, like what she's doing here, she actually just dies. Like, I don't know what she's doing. Like, she has no, apparently she has no, either she has no idea how much damage I do, or she has no respect for the damage I do. I'm just gonna jump on top of her and kill her. You know, sure, why not? So yeah, really kind of strange behavior by MF at this point. And here I spot the enemy blue buff, so I'm trying to pick up this enemy blue buff, because again, Corki, you know, really important. And here, Twisted Fate actually tries to KS the blue buff from me, despite the fact that he's 1 and 5 and I'm 8 and 0, which just boggles my mind. I sometimes have no idea why, you know, why people try to steal the buffs from their fed members even though they're feeding. Like, I'm 5k gold up on him, and he gets engaged on by the Pantheon, and I'm not gonna help him whatsoever, because obviously man just tried to steal my blue buff. And also, you know, it's just better for me to just back and reset. No point taking a risk there, because we don't know where his team is. So honestly, not emotionally driven, but just logically, we should not be helping him, because we don't know if his team is right behind him. And turns out his team was kind of near him, so we don't want to give over our shutdown for no good reason, when we can back and get get an entire item, which is what we did right there. So here we're trying to set a trap initially, but doesn't really look like anyone's going to really walk here. They're all kind of at mid, so we're going to try to make our way over there and see if we can kind of make a play. Obviously not really on MF if possible, because MF isn't really even that valuable. She's just been dying on repeat. Nami gets a beautiful wave, but me and Darius both get rooted by Senna, so we can't really follow up. So nothing really happens until now that Twisted Fate gets engaged on by Pantheon. Again, Pantheon engaging on Twisted Fate, not very intelligent, because he's the least valuable target of our team. So here, Conqueror is actually coming in handy, because now we're actually in a long fight where we actually have our Conqueror propped. We're going in on the Aurelion Soul. We get exhausted, but we're going to snipe him out with one last rocket, and he does end up dying. Twisted Fate, for some reason, runs under the tower and dies to it, which doesn't really even make sense at all. But with the enemy team all dead except the Senna, this is prime time to get ourselves a Baron. Senna, obviously, we have vision on her in the mid lane. She's not going to come over and contest Baron against 3 people. I mean, if she does, it's just another free kill for us. So, you know, essentially it's a free Baron. We're 10-0 and 3 now. Finally getting more gold than the Darius for the first time in the whole match, where he's been, you know, so far ahead in terms of gold this entire time. But now we're gonna back with our Baron buff. We're trying to get our IE. We actually get our entire IE, and now I'm gonna pick up the package despite the fact that Baron, you know, has just you know, gone down, and Jargon's coming in 40 seconds. Now the reason why I like to take package when I have Baron buff is pretty much if you have Baron buff, the enemy team is sort of, you know, forced to fight you. Like when you're the Baron buff team, you don't necessarily want to fight, you want to push. But when you're the enemy team, you want to stop the Baron team from pushing by fighting them. So the package is going to come in handy, you know, if we get into fights like these, and you know, we could just go in with the package. Now, of course, I don't want to dive into the tower with the package right here, but I have it handy, and I'm trying to look for an opportunity to use it. Here, Mastery spotted over the wall. I'm trying to go in on him, just blasting him. He flashes away in fear. And again, I still have the package, but I can't really use it because there isn't really an opportunity to. I don't want to int with the package, so my package actually ends up expiring, unfortunately. So yeah, don't want to be greedy with the package, you know. And here at Corki, we can just launch pot shots at them with our rockets, and they're taking a decent amount of damage just from our poke, whereas they can't really even reach us to do anything. So here the blue buff is up again, so we're gonna quickly grab ourselves the blue buff. While we're at it, might as well just snack on the Gromp as well. And another minion wave comes in with the Baron buff. I can't believe I missed the minions there. I shot the rocket in between the minions. But we're just going to take out the minions. Enemy team is trying to defend 2 lanes at once. The Pantheon engages on me. I'm going to just quickly dash away. Pantheon's overextended. He now dies. And yeah, we're just cleaning them up at this point. Aurelion Soul is really low, and people are getting slowed down. So I'm going to dash forward and finish the kill onto him. We have a mid lane wave, but no more Baron buff. And actually no more mid lane wave at this point. So we're kind of trying to wait for the wave to come in. Master Yi gets baited by the low HP, low mana Nami, and actually takes 2 shots from me and like loses half of his health. So here we get another free inhibitor, because obviously, like at this point, Corki is so strong. The enemy team steps up under tower. He can just burst them down as well. And honestly, at this point, with the whole enemy team dead except Master Yi and Senna, we can probably end the game. Master Yi ends up going down to me, and we just have to wait for the next minion wave. Now, unfortunately, my Darius is recalling and my Twisted Fate tanks 2 tower shots and runs away. Now, because the enemy team is all respawning, I don't want to be alone in the base trying to end the game. So I'm going to take the safer approach, which is to run away with my team and reset and just come back and end the game later. Now, if my Twisted Fate and my Darius actually stuck around, I would have just committed to ending the game. But because I'm alone, I don't want to be trying to end the game myself and end up giving over a shutdown to the enemy team. I'm 13-0-3 now, so giving over a shutdown to them would not be very good. And I'm actually able to complete my final crit item, which is, of course, my shield bow for the extra level of safety. I didn't get my boot enchant yet, honestly, because at this point we always back and get full items. There really wasn't an opportunity to get the boot enchant, but obviously stasis will be really good here because we can dash in and you know, we can pop the stasis to remain alive while our team does the rest and while our package does the rest. And here, we're just going to basically just go join our team. Basically, as long as we're together as a team, the enemy team cannot win a fight. A fight kind of nearly breaks out here, and it is kind of actually breaking out now. I'm waiting for Aurelion Sol's black hole to kind of go away because I can't really walk into it. Now it's gone. I'm dashing in, going in on Pantheon. Here I tried to get away from his Aurelion's ulti, but really hard to avoid that Aurelion ulti. It's a little bit too big. We kill the Pantheon. Aurelion Sol tries to damage us. He doesn't do decent damage now, actually. And with the black hole, really difficult with that zone control. We're going to push in the top wave, which is the last lane that they have an inhibitor in. And honestly, if we secure triple inhib, the game is more or less won. And honestly, at this point, the game is already more or less won. Both Baron and Elder are actually up, and it would be pretty good if we could pick up those objectives. So here I'm actually going to recall. I'm going to pick up the package. I'm actually going to go straight to Elder despite the fact that my jungler is dead. Number 1, my jungler is going to respawn in like 10 seconds. Number 2, if Master Yi dares to show his face near the Elder Dragon, I'm just going in and I'm going to just one-shot him. I have exhaust up. Means that there is no way that he can kill me. If he shows up anywhere, I can dash on top of his head and exhaust him and kill him. So here I'm pretty confident, as you can basically tell based on what I just said. We can just pick up the Elder Dragon. Now, speaking of someone showing up, you can see this. If this was the Master Yi, this is pretty much what would have happened, except that I would have had to exhaust him. So we easily destroy the Aurelion and MF. Of course, Darius destroyed the Aurelion while I was destroying the MF. And we're easily gonna get this free Elder Dragon. And from Elder, you know, we have 2 choices. Number 1, go straight to Baron, get a free Baron, end the game. Number 2, run straight down mid and end the game with the Elder. Now, honestly, I think at this point, with 2 enemies dead and only 3 alive, and with Elder buff, I don't actually think we need Baron to win the game. So I'm just gonna go straight down mid to end with Elder. It is a little bit riskier option, but honestly, what can the enemy team do against us? We easily, you know, before we end the game, let's just get some kills here. So we get 2 kills. 2 final kills to pad the stats a little bit before we finally put them out of their misery. So you can see this Corki build super duper strong. Does a I was gonna say something right there, but does a load of damage. But anyways, I'm gonna leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.